When it comes to e-commerce shopping platforms, really there's two options, and that's hosted and self-hosted. I'll explain what those are in a minute. Now, within those two options, hosted and self-hosted, really for our purposes, there's two players, Shopify and WooCommerce. Now, within each category, there are many other platforms as well. I should just point out that besides hosted and self-hosted, there are, of course, custom shopping cart platforms. But for the purposes of our audience, the majority of who are either not selling online at all or on a marketplace. And the reality is that, with e-commerce today, the vast majority of use cases are going to end up on one of these solutions. So within the hosted and self-hosted options, there are two main players, and that is Shopify and WooCommerce. So let's first understand, the need for that each platform is out to fill. And then once we understand that need, that'll make understanding the differences between them a lot simpler. So I think a good analogy to use when thinking about this is comparing, booking a hotel versus building a home, right? When you book a hotel room, all you're looking for is a place to sleep, a place to relax, do business. So your needs are pretty well defined, and the solution is already pre-built to meet those needs. You pay for the hotel room as long as you use it, as many nights as you stay there. You can always pay more or less based on the amenities that you want, or the level of comfort that the hotel provides. But obviously, you're not paying for the construction and maintenance of the hotel. I mean, of course, that's built into your nightly rate, but you're only paying as long as you use it and according to the level that you use it. Versus when you build a home, so, obviously, there's a lot more that goes into building a home than just having a place to sleep or eat, right? You want it to be a place where you can raise a family. And so there's a lot of preferences that you might have in that regard, how you want your home to look. You want it to be a place where you can express yourself, where you can have a home office. So the point is that, you get to design how your home is going to look according to the functions that you want to use it for and according to your tastes and preferences. But the cost to you is the construction and the maintenance of the home. So when it comes to e-commerce, broadly speaking, it's quite similar. The vast majority of individuals or businesses that are looking to sell online have the same needs. And Shopify and other hosted providers are providing a solution to those needs, to those common needs. You want to use that solution, so you pay for it as long as you need it in the form of monthly payments. You also pay for the solution according to the level that you use it at. So that, takes shape in the form of additional plugins that you might be paying for, which again, you pay for as you use them on a monthly basis. Also, the amount of use that you get out of it, you end up paying for in the form of transaction fees, processing fees. So there's a very, very, common set of needs that online sellers have, and this is a solution that I can use that meets my need. There can be additional costs to Shopify, such as deploying the site, setting it up, tweaking the design, creating a custom design. In most cases, those should be fairly minimal because, again, the concept of Shopify is to meet common existing needs with a solution that I can pay for as I need it. Now, increasingly, Shopify themselves and their community of developers are looking to expand the use cases that they're able to meet. So, whereas Shopify 2 years ago, was not necessarily an option for the amount of people that it is today. I mean, it's growing exponentially and vastly. And, that Shopify is one of the most, highly funded companies in the technology sector today. So the growth of Shopify is really explosive, but the idea is that, again, creating a solution that meets common existing needs. So we're continuing to expand the types of needs that we're providing a pre-built solution for. So, in a nutshell, Shopify, they're aiming to be a turnkey product that allows you to very quickly and easily build an e-commerce store. Now, WooCommerce, on the other hand, is more analogous, one of those, to building your own home, like we said. So that is really the need that they're out to fill. So rather than giving you a pre-built solution for your need, they're giving you the tools and a platform to create any type of solution. And that can be, the possibilities are really infinite, what the needs might be and what solution you want to build. So they're providing you tools and a platform, whereas Shopify is providing you essentially a solution. Now, just to understand what WooCommerce is, for those of you who are completely unfamiliar, so where Shopify is a pre-built, software, so similar to something like Facebook, where you just open an account and you use it. WooCommerce is built on, it's a e-commerce plugin for the WordPress CMS platform. So WordPress is the largest content management system in the world. Something like 30%, up to close to 30% of websites run on WordPress. That allows, websites to be designed and developed and deployed and fully managed using this completely flexible and open source platform. Now, it was not originally built for e-commerce. WooCommerce is a plugin to that platform, which allows you to leverage it for e-commerce. So the reason that WooCommerce and WordPress go together so nicely is because of the open source and flexible nature of the platform. So the technology is able to be deployed and scaled and configured really without limit. So the bottom line is that WordPress is a tool and a platform, and Shopify is a solution to pre-existing needs. Now, WooCommerce does come with a core set of features that would seem to very much provide the same out-of-the-box type of solution that Shopify provides. So you can, think that WooCommerce and Shopify are alternatives to each other, like comparing apples to apples. And we've actually had but quite a few people come to us that were great fits for Shopify, and they actually insisted on going with WooCommerce because of the scalability or flexibility, and also because they completely own and control their data and the user experience of the site. As we'll get more into those topics. So WooCommerce can actually be used out of the box because they are providing many of the core e-commerce features that any shop needs, like catalog management, product management, checkout flows, user management, most of the core things. And then even beyond the core e-commerce function needs that there's a massive marketplace of plugins that can extend your e-commerce store to probably any scenario that you can imagine almost. And WooCommerce themselves, has many options to extend their platform. So it can seem that there's a big overlap between WooCommerce and Shopify. WooCommerce, as we'll see, takes a little more work to deploy, but but it's fairly simple out of the box to get up and running. So it would seem that there is an overlap, but it's really important, when choosing a platform, to really know your needs, and then with this understanding of what each platform was essentially built for, making the right decision. Because as we'll discuss, making the wrong decision can be really, really costly to the business at an early stage of starting their online selling. So now, like I said, because WooCommerce is so open and built to be flexible and built to be used as a tool for creating any type of experience, so that naturally means that it requires a lot more setup and a lot more maintenance on your end to run than Shopify. Now, before so now that we understand the intention of these two technologies, and this is essentially what's meant by hosted and self-hosted. It's a technical term, but it's also that's the underlying concept is, one is more a solution, existing solution, and one is more meant to be used as a tool. So, we should mention Magento. Magento was for many years the dominant player in e-commerce as far as platforms and shopping carts go. It's a massive, robust, powerful platform. Some of the biggest sites in the world are powered by Magento. However, over the recent years, Magento has seen their market share shrink tremendously because of Shopify and WooCommerce. And again, that is because the vast majority of online sellers, online shops are, share a common set of needs, and they're okay using a pre-built solution like Shopify. But even in cases where they might have more custom requirements, WooCommerce is an amazing fit. It does not have the same level of complexity that Magento has. Magento is tremendously complex, both to build and to maintain and to operate also on a daily basis. And so, there's been some discussion in the development in the e-commerce community whether the complexity of Magento has killed Magento. But Magento is well aware of this, and that's why Magento is actually, moving to really only service very enterprise stores, and they're focusing a lot on B2B, companies with multiple storefronts, etc. But even the what your average or lower scale Magento shop would have used Magento for, WooCommerce is becoming a extremely viable solution. Now, there were limitations with Shopify and with WooCommerce within the space that they were trying to fill, the need that they were trying to fill, right? So Shopify, being not having enough flexibility and capabilities for and customization potential for the users, they're really mitigating any of those issues. And the same thing as WooCommerce. WooCommerce suffered from speed issues just because of the way that that WordPress databases are built. There were security issues, SEO issues, but those really have been mitigated. So there's almost, it's really hard to find a use case where WooCommerce would not be a good alternative to Magento. But again, it does require setting it up the right way. So, now that we, discussed the solution or the difference between the Shopify and WooCommerce, hosted and self-hosted, the intention of those platforms. So, we'll look at some of the common, issues or differences that would come up. So, comparing WooCommerce and Shopify, there's endless amount of similarities and differences between them. So I'm going to try to focus just on the ones that you would be likely to encounter once you made the decision that was the right platform for you. So first, you could just see right on each platform's homepage exactly how they're positioning themselves. So Shopify coming across very much as ready to go out of the box, and WooCommerce positioning themselves as very customizable, and an e-commerce platform, that you can use however your business needs. Just to little plug for our company over here. So we recently got featured in the WooCommerce Showcase. These are sites that were built on WooCommerce that really put, WooCommerce to good use. Something we're obviously very excited about. The company's name is Vilrus. And so this is just a good example of, a company who had a custom user experience that they were looking to achieve because of the nature of the products that they were selling and because of the marketing strategies that they were going to use, the content marketing strategies and the resources that they wanted to offer. We'll get more into each of these things. So this was a great fit for WooCommerce, and, we deployed it. Our team did a phenomenal job on that end, and WooCommerce featured us. So the first, issue that you'll encounter when choosing a platform is the setup. So Shopify, is a really simple setup. I mean, it's literally within minutes you're up and running. What you have to do is create your account, which is free. Initially, there's a trial period. You purchase a domain, you could do it straight through them, or if you already have a domain, you just sync it. You choose your theme, your payment gateway. That's how you want to accept payments, and you could start adding your products. Whereas with WooCommerce, so there's a lot more involved in the setup. Now, that does not mean to achieve a basic setup that it's difficult. If you're technically inclined, the likelihood is that you could do this on your own fairly quickly. But that being said, it does require more hands-on configuration. So you have to actually host the site itself, hence the name self-hosted solution. You have to then, once you have the hosting, install WordPress. Then you have to install and configure WooCommerce on top of WordPress. You have to then find a theme, or if you likely as you chose WooCommerce because you have something very custom, so you have to create a custom theme and then implement it onto WooCommerce. And then there's all the steps that go into configuring your store, like a payment gateway, the tax calculations, order confirmations, all that type of stuff has to all be set up. Now, again, this does not have to be difficult with WooCommerce. In a simple situation, it can be done fairly quickly and easily. But the nature of the platform is meant to be used as a very, very configurable and flexible tool. And so therefore, de facto, you have to go through all these steps. The next, so we'll talk a little more about the design because, that's something that's going to happen in the setup phase of the project. So Shopify currently has, a very, very large selection of themes to choose from. There's quite a few, I think 10 free themes, and then there's a lot of paid themes, which are not that expensive. And then, there's a marketplace. There are marketplaces of themes where you can purchase a design and a layout that fits your needs perfectly. Most of the themes are already mobile responsive, so they'll work on any device that someone comes to your store through, which is becoming more and more crucial, obviously. Their themes, their designs are created by professional teams that know what works in e-commerce, and so these designs are designed to convert very, very well. They're highly optimized. Additionally, they're coded and developed by teams that Shopify, whether it's Shopify's own team or teams that they manage and sort of vet or approve. So they're very well coded, very fast, work on all devices, like I said. And so basically, going with the Shopify theme, you don't have to think about whether it's optimized, for user experience and on the development side. Whereas with WooCommerce, so if you can purchase pre-existing themes and just install them, but again, if you went with WooCommerce because you have some custom need that you're trying to fill, then or custom experience you're trying to create, then all that has to be executed very well. So that's as far as setup goes. So the next issue is security. Now this used to be a bigger issue and it's mostly mitigated, but it's just something that you need to be more hands-on when it comes to WooCommerce. So Shopify, first of all, is PCI compliant right out of the gate, so that customers know that the credit cards are totally secure. You can put a seal on your site that says so. Credit card companies, banks know that, so that affects your rates. SSL, which is the site security, protect people's data, is included with Shopify. There's the possibility to monitor any hacks or vulnerabilities on your dashboard. So really, Shopify handles security completely for you right out of the gate. And again, this is in line with Shopify's approach and solution, which is we'll take care of everything for you. You just pay for the use. Whereas WooCommerce, is meant for you to deploy the way you see fit, and so you do have to make sure that everything is in place as far as security goes. Now, the WooCommerce has great, core code as does WordPress. So that obviously is important as far as security goes. It's frequently updated. And there's many security plugins that you can use to improve your site security. So WooCommerce definitely has tremendous, powerful capabilities under the hood to make sure that your site is secure from every angle. It's just up to you to make sure it's being set up the right way. Flexibility. So, this is undoubtedly the biggest, benefit to WooCommerce and the biggest drawback to Shopify, as we keep saying. Shopify, because they're building a product and a solution that, you can be confident is going to work all the time and the way you need it. Therefore, they have to tightly control their ecosystem. And so therefore, they cannot, they won't allow you to manipulate certain things, within, let's say, the checkout or, many other areas of the site, whether it's, the user side of things or the shop side of things. There's also commonly complained about limitation, which is a maximum of 100 variations. So, if you're selling products that are complex and they come with, multiple options that users can choose from, this can be an issue you'll bump into. Whereas WooCommerce, has really, really no constraints. There's no limit to what you can build. And obviously there's no issue with the product variations, but that being said, you want to make sure that the development of the site is done well so that the site is optimized for speed and usability. This is an issue that, many WooCommerce sites bump into, which is they implement, functionalities that are very custom and complex and really creating a very, very unique user experience, but the performance really could suffer as a result. Now, just to give you an example, here's a site that we built, which is, they're selling tickets to attractions. So every product has a different page template that needs to be, created according to the details of that attraction. Choosing your options, the date that you're coming, who's going to join you, who's going to purchase the ticket. There's many, many different, variables that go into that on a product level. And so we were able to create a design and management in the back end that really allows our client to set up any possible type of product. And there's many details that we were able to incorporate in the checkout flow as well, which were a requirement. There was also, there's many, things we were able to implement once a user checks out, like generating vouchers for attractions. So really limitless, but you want to make sure that you're working with the right developer that execute things the right way. So cost, it's a little hard to say an exact cost for a WooCommerce store because there's so many different scenarios how that might be deployed. It's possible for WooCommerce to cost less than Shopify, but in the vast majority of cases, if the platform is being used for the right purposes, typically WooCommerce at the end of the day is going to cost you a little bit more. Now, it's important to know upfront with the real costs, of Shopify. So you do have your different monthly packages, but you'll see that, once you get to, some more advanced but still basic e-commerce functionalities, then right away you're going to be on the $79 package, and then potentially up to the $300 package. There is a enterprise package. I think it starts at $2,000 a month, which provides tremendous amount of flexibility and scalability. But that's really for the very, very robust shops. Now, on top of that monthly cost, there's also the transaction fees. and the processing fee. So, if you use Shopify payments, they're not charging you any of those additional fees. They're just charging you um, the credit card fee. Now, with WooCommerce, so you do have to pay for hosting. You do want to have good hosting, and so right away, that's going to basically put you at the same price point on a monthly basis. Then there's any cost associated with your payment gateway, but then there's additional costs associated with creating your custom design or finding a premium theme, as well as any premium plugins that you want to add to your site. Now, as far as plugins go, that's another area to know the true cost of Shopify. Most plugins will charge you on a monthly basis. So that can quickly add up as you look to, increase the complexity of your shop and offer more features. And many things that are becoming standard in e-commerce that users really enjoy, are additional plugins that you'll have to install and pay for on a monthly basis. So, it would not be uncommon to have a Shopify store that's running at $200, $300, $400 a month. WooCommerce, typically most of the costs are upfront, and then you own what you bought. So you might not have those ongoing costs, but typically the upfront costs are larger, especially if you're talking about more complex custom sites. Shopify, like I said before, you might, if you don't have the time or the capability to set it up yourself, you might want to hire someone to do that for you. You might have a need to customize the theme that you purchased or the design. So there can be an upfront cost, but there's a huge community and marketplace of Shopify experts that are available to do that. Obviously the range for them varies based on the quality of their work. So there can be an initial, upfront cost to Shopify as well, but typically that'll run you lower than WooCommerce. Right. One more thing, I just want to go back for a minute to talk about the flexibility. So, something that's becoming more and more prevalent in e-commerce and being able to compete is creating a very, custom branded shop as well as a unique user experience that's built purely around your product and the way, customers might want to shop for your product. And so the need for a solution like WooCommerce, in a way is actually becoming more common. Now, it's possible that Shopify might have a pre-built solution to your specific need. So that's always worth looking into. But generally speaking, if you're looking to create something out of the box versus something off the shelf, then WooCommerce is going to be the way to go. Let's keep moving along. Okay, so maintenance. Shopify, again, they're giving you a solution that you don't have to, think about at all. Everything's there already created for you just to be able to start selling. And so there's really no ongoing hosting or, shop store maintenance that you have to do. That being said, if you're going to be installing different apps, you do want to stay on top of the apps to make sure that they're all functioning properly with your store, that none of them are, have bugs or have any vulnerabilities. So beyond, there really not being too much for you to do anything to do with maintenance-wise, there's also anything you're trying to do with your shop. Shopify has fantastic direct support. Call them, email them, chat with them. There's a huge community of Shopify experts out there that can help you as well. And there's also a tremendous amount of resources that Shopify themselves provides or that you can find on the web. So, really, if you don't know anything about, the technology or managing or running a store, that's the beauty of the solution that Shopify provides. Whereas WooCommerce, so besides paying for hosting, you have to be on top of your hosting to make sure that your site is operating at full capacity. So there are now solutions which are WooCommerce WooCommerce managed hosting, which they built these hosting packages specifically for WooCommerce, and so they can optimize the way the servers are set up, and they'll also be there to in case any issues happen, they can quickly go into your WooCommerce store and see what's causing the issue. Because dealing with custom code and with all different plugins, there's the possibility for issues to arise, and you have to be able to pinpoint them. But the WooCommerce also has a tremendous development community, so you can always be very secure knowing that no matter what you built, down the road, whether you move on, whether you built it yourself or with one team and you're looking to move on, you'll always find someone who can help you. There's tremendous documentation provided directly from WooCommerce, as well as a huge amount of resources online. And typically, any plugins that you purchase, they, obviously one of the things to look out for when purchasing a plugin, is the reviews, but you also want to see what type of support is offered, documentation as well. Many plugins will, give you the option to purchase, higher levels of support. And so, as far as WooCommerce goes, that's also pretty negligible that that you should have an issue that you'll be really stuck with. So
Shalom,
yes,
let's take a quick pause. If anyone wants to just ask some quick Q&A
sure.
For a second here. If anyone, just click, there's a Q&A button that should be on your screen. If you hover over your screen, if anyone wants to quickly shoot a question, we'll take a quick pause over here right now to quickly answer any questions that people might have. Or the truth is, we could ask if anyone wants to ask questions. If you want to ask a question, raise your hand. So this way, if anyone raises their hand, we'll wait. Otherwise, we'll go forward. So if anyone wants to ask a question, quickly raise the hand so we know to wait for you. Otherwise, we'll go forward and we'll pause again at the end. We'll take more questions if anyone wants to ask.
I'm looking for the feature that tells you whether people fell asleep.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, no, people are engaging. But go ahead then. Continue.
Okay. Yeah, so site ownership, because WooCommerce is self-hosted, so you have significantly more control and ownership of your data. You own everything. That means, if you want to dig into the database, access the raw data for whatever purposes, marketing purposes, you can do that. However, you should know that WooCommerce on its own is a little bit limited in being able to do that, again, because of the way it's built. But there are other platforms that are available that you can take that data from WooCommerce and then do a lot with it. But as far as having your raw data, you're in full control over it. Whereas Shopify, they do give you access to your data, and they do have actually fantastic reporting capabilities and the ability to analyze data out of the box. But it's on Shopify servers, and they technically are in full control of your data. So, now an issue that comes up a lot is migration. So something happens and you want to move on from Shopify, you have to be able to migrate your data away from them. And it's doable, it's possible, but it can be a bit of a hassle, to actually get that done and then migrate it in a way that will work on whatever new platform you're moving to. But again, because of the nature of the two platforms, one being a pre-built solution, which you do not have to, think about the maintenance or building of it at all, whereas WooCommerce is there for you to use however you want. So therefore, one is very closed and one is very open. SEO. So again, as far as limitations or issues relating to SEO, at this point, both have a really, really robust and powerful in what they offer. But again, it comes down to how much setup and manual work needs to be done on your end. So Shopify, they really, really make it easy to start to optimize your site for SEO. So, for example, generating an automatic sitemap, plus giving you many SEO controls, like that on your own you can go in and continue to improve your SEO, like customizing title tags and meta descriptions, URLs. So,
Shalom, somebody asked if you could explain SEO a little bit.
Sure. So SEO stands for search engine optimization. And what that essentially means is that when someone goes to Google and searches for the product that you're selling, you will come up higher. So, obviously you have to know very well how you plan on competing within your marketplace. Okay. But, and what you want to rank for. But, having that control on a product level to be able to put in that SEO work is extremely important. And so Shopify out of the box, makes that very simple and easy to do. Whereas WooCommerce, there's definitely a lot more manual configuration that has to be done. So, WooCommerce out of the box is pretty light as far as SEO related features go. The code that WooCommerce is built on is actually optimized for SEO. But that being said, in a way, the capabilities are potentially more powerful than Shopify because, first of all, there's very robust SEO plugins that you can use. But, because of the open and flexible nature of the platform, any types of content that you want to deploy are, extremely easy to incorporate for SEO purposes. Now, like I said, WooCommerce is an e-commerce plugin for WordPress. So the likelihood is, you might already have a WordPress site that you're running that you want to extend to include e-commerce with, but you also might want to, for content marketing purposes, as well as just part of the user experience that you're looking to offer, whether it's resources, articles, information about your company that you want to present in a very branded way. So you might want to use WordPress as a content management platform anyway. And so, if that's an essential part of the online strategy, then WooCommerce being integrated so tightly with WordPress is a tremendous added benefit. So, the risks. So it really, if we'll go back to the core solutions or the core purposes that Shopify and WooCommerce were created for, and Shopify being a solution, a pre-built solution to common needs, and WooCommerce being a tool that you can use, to really create any type of, or to meet any need or create any type of experience. And so, therefore, the risks involved are directly related. So on Shopify, and especially if, you're talking about a store that's just starting out, and the margins are very, very, slim, and the capital is very limited. So you can't run the risk of hitting a wall and then, now having to, and the money that you spent is essentially lost, and now having to go start over with WooCommerce. So it's really important to really clarify your needs before choosing a platform, and then being 100% certain that it's going to meet your needs now and in the future. Whereas WooCommerce, starting off from WooCommerce and, because you wanted to create something unique, and then building that and spending a lot of time and money to create that, and then realizing that the business strategy, the business strategy shifts to something more simple. So again, that's, a very big upfront investment that, at a crucial stage that can really go to waste. And so really clarifying your strategy again before you choose a platform is really, really crucial at an early stage of selling online.
Shalom, somebody just posted a question. They sell software that people download as apps for their computers or for their smartphones. Are these platforms made for that, or you need to use something else?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Somebody sells software that people download as
Okay.
opposed to products. So are these platforms for that type of solution or not?
Well, okay. So WooCommerce definitely, that's a big part of the market share, I believe, is people that are selling digital goods, not physical goods that are downloadable. And there's a tremendous amount, that can be done in order to create a very custom experience about your, specific type of, whether it's music or, being able to create, um, you know, a branded experience with previews of music or any other type of media, um, or whether it's a piece of software. So, there's, I believe, WooCommerce has a core um, feature that allows you to do that, and there's definitely a lot of plugins that allow you to extend that as well. Shopify also has the capability to sell digital downloads. I believe, yeah, and that's also developed by Shopify directly. Um, I can't tell you the exact extent that you'd be able to customize that experience and all the different use cases that it would be usable for. I would imagine at this point it's a pretty robust offering. So again, both platforms are able to provide that, but WooCommerce, if there's something that you require a very unique experience in selling those products, WooCommerce would definitely have you covered there.
Okay, so that's it. That's the end of the presentation.
Yeah. Any other questions? I'll be more than happy to take them. I hope that clarified the difference between the platforms. But again, I just want to stress that how important it is to really understand what your strategy is for making your shop successful and what your needs are as far as being able to create that shop, and then making the decision on the platform. But generally speaking, with the understanding that Shopify is there to meet existing needs, and WooCommerce is there to give you a tool to create any type of solution, then that's very good guidelines to use before approaching anything. I see a question.
Yeah, SC Designs. Yeah, go ahead.
Before building a website, you want to test the water, meaning to say if this type of business will work. So before I'm going to be a company and build a website, which is the cheapest way to test the market? So that's a great question, and definitely people are using Shopify for that purpose, to quickly deploy sites just to validate their ideas. Again, if there's something that's more custom and unique that you need to have in order to even test the waters, you can do a very fast and simple WooCommerce deployment. But generally speaking, in that scenario, Shopify is the way to go. Shlomi wants to know what is a good contact info for you. Okay.
I'll send him your email address.
Okay, Sterling, I'm selling items that get customized before being shipped. I got a plugin on Shopify. Is it worth, or rather do with WooCommerce? So again, it's really about figuring out your needs and seeing if that plugin is going to meet your needs. I'm not sure whether you want to give people the opportunity, the capability to view their design live before purchasing it, but there's definitely plugins that do that with Shopify. However, with WooCommerce, once you're getting into custom products, that's definitely where people start to really think seriously about WooCommerce. So, definitely, you might, and you likely be okay with Shopify, but definitely you want to, really think through the experience you want to give to customers. Like I said, that's becoming more and more important, and then WooCommerce would likely be a fantastic solution. Do you deal in advertising PPC for my website? How to get my website out in the world? We do not do advertising or PPC because that's, we believe that that's, the marketing that drives traffic to the site and the on-site experience, we believe, are such unique disciplines and really vary so much, site to site and industry to industry, that it really takes a marketing agency that is really on top of the game and the changing, dynamics in the market. There's marketing agencies that specialize in certain verticals, in certain industries, so you might want to look into that. So that's why we chose not to focus on, not to offer SEO or PPC, but we do, continually work with marketing agencies as we work on projects. And typically we'll have clients do their own homework about that, because that's a, very serious, important decision that has to be made really before starting the project. Now, as far as how you get your website out into the world, that's definitely something a marketing agency will help you with. Obviously, the ways to do that are tremendously varied. But I think what SZ Design asked before, if you're not yet sure of your marketing strategy and how you're going to compete, but you want to put yourself out there quickly and cheaply, so then, with Shopify, you could already have your store and up and running, and you can actually start to learn a lot about your audience and what drives them, and then build a marketing strategy with the information that you glean. Okay, I logged in late. How do you compare Magento to other e-commerce websites? Like I said, Magento is, really, really becoming relevant only to very, to enterprise level sites, and they're now focusing a lot on B2B sites. So as far as sites that require the level of customization that Magento previously offered WooCommerce at this point, is usually the most viable solution. The complexity of creating and deploying Magento just doesn't really typically make it worth it. That being said, there are cases, where Magento is an amazing option. Like, for example, building a marketplace. I'll just show you quickly. This is a site that we created. It's an online marketplace for artists, and as you'll be able to see, it's a really, really robust and complex user experience. We're talking about people setting up their own, little shops within the site. So, something at this level where you're dealing with hundreds of artists and tens of thousands of customers, that would warrant Magento. But other than that, the flexibility that Magento previously provided is replaced by WooCommerce. And when is it time to go to a full custom website and not use any of the ready platforms? Everything comes down to, the needs of meeting your objectives and your strategies for succeeding online. And so, design at this point, we're talking about standard e-commerce design. First of all, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. You don't want to break conventions. There's a reason that things look and work the way that they do, because that's what converts. And so you don't want to start from scratch. And not just that, you can pretty much accomplish any style with a pre-existing theme. So, just to go custom for the sake of having a custom design, probably not warranted. It's more when it comes to being able to create a custom user experience, which is crucial for your strategy. So, whether it's brand related, really creating something that's special and brings out your branding so that users really engage with you, whether it's, being able to offer different types of content, and whether it's the way that the products are bought, a very custom user experience, such as personalized products, that, would be the time to go for a custom design. Now, that being said, you still might want to hire someone to take existing templates and modify them, so that can always hit that sweet spot that you're looking for. Can Shopify WooCommerce be connected to Amazon? Yes, absolutely. I think if you go to shopify.com/Amazon, I believe you'll see exactly what they offer. And this, like I said before, about the limitations that were previously, present with the different platforms being mitigated. So this is one of them. With WooCommerce, there used to not be a simple way to do it, where now it's also relatively straightforward.
Okay, so this has really been a fantastic session. Before we sign off, Sholom, just please share with everybody again your contact information if anyone wants to reach out to you directly.
Sure. So the company name is Forwardslash. You can look us up at forwardslashny.com. My name is Sholom Rubin. I'm the user experience strategist at Forwardslash. You could reach me at sholom at forwardslashny.com. That's SHOLOM at forwardslashny.com. And, we'll be happy to answer any calls, answer any questions, continue the conversation anytime.
Okay, everyone, I hope you enjoyed. We're going to be sending out a survey to hear your feedback on behalf of CHYE and the EPI. We'd like to thank all of you for participating, and please stay tuned. The Mirta Shem will be doing more webinars in the near future. Wishing all of you a wonderful day and tremendous hatzlacha.